Hello and welcome to another edition of YourLocalNote.com, a featured podcast this week with the late Ancients. They're back with us. We talked with them last June, and they've got a new album out that we're going to talk to them about. The album is called Songs From The Wigwam. So we're going to talk to them in just a few minutes. Just want to remind you, we have a weekly newsletter out. Very simple. Just contact at YourLocalNote.com. Send your information there, and we'll send it out to you every single week. Also, we stream 24/7, and we have free apps. Just go to the respective stores, type in YLN, download the apps for free, and you can take YourLocalNote.com with you anywhere, and you can listen to our streaming, which we do 24/7. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be talking with Brittany and Pete from the late Ancients, but let's start off with their song Higher from their new album called Songs From The Wigwam on YourLocalNote.com. The song is called Higher from the album Songs from the Wigwam, and we've got the Late Ancients with us. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us. We got Pete and Brittany. Appreciate you coming back. Last time we talked to you was 2012, June of 2012. Appreciate you coming back.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
All right.
Happy to be here.
Okay, very cool. New album out. Let's talk about the first song, Higher. Who wrote it, and what is that song about?
Our keyboard player, Mark, actually wrote that one.
Okay.
He's got 3 of his own songs on this album, which is different from our last one. I wrote all the songs on the last album.
Okay.
He's got 3 on here, so that's something a little different we have going for this one. As far as what it's about, I don't know specifically, but I have heard him mention in a couple other things we did that it's kind of about the struggles of, I guess, an artist in the music industry and trying to make it higher and higher, I guess.
Okay.
And,
very cool.
Everything.
Since you mentioned changes from the last album, since the last time we talked to you guys, why don't you go over some changes in the band?
Yeah, well, we have a new drummer, for one thing.
Okay.
Last time we saw you, we had 2 brothers in the band who are not with us anymore.
Oh.
So we lost one of the singers, but it's okay because our new drummer sings as well.
Very cool.
He has no vocals on this album yet, but our keyboard player actually stepped up and he sang lead on a couple songs. So we have 4 vocalists now in the band.
Okay.
So.
yeah,
A bigger sound.
Yes.
absolutely.
And what kind of adjustment was that then?
Well, I mean, we went through, it was a rough period for a little while because we went through, I don't know, we've in total played with over 10 different drummers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of them were just for like
Tough
a
finding
one-off,
a good drummer.
one-off gig or anything like that, but some were kind of, for a few months here. So we spent a lot of time relearning our songs
Right.
with new people, which
Okay.
was kind of a drag for a bit, but we got a lot of practice with this.
It wasn't like Spinal Tap where the drummers constantly were dying. It was just going through
No,
different...
There was no spontaneous combustion or anything like that,
All right, fair.
or bizarre gardening accidents.
So, I mean, did you find it good going through the songs like that? I mean, or was it something that was frustrating? Or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, I would say. Once we found our current drummer, Dave, and we knew like he was going to be with us long term, and we were all on the same page, it was really, really refreshing. Just, we kept saying like, finally we get to learn some new things, because it felt like for the past 6-month period we were just rehearsing with drummers,
Right.
And getting them up to speed. So, but it was a little bit of both. There's a lot of good practice,
Okay.
to be had.
And then the other new people with the band, who would that be?
Just our drummer is new.
Just your drummer.
So we lost 2, gained 1.
Yeah.
Lost 2, gained
But the
1.
the one we lost was just a singer.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're lucky our drummer can now sing, so he kind of makes up for both of them.
Exactly.
All right, very cool. Now, Pete, you also said that the song "Higher" was not written by you, where the first album, all the songs were written by you. What kind of adjustment was that for you, and how did that come about?
It wasn't really like anything different. It's not like I wanted to be the only songwriter or anything like that. It was just no one else was really making any songs up, so I was just kind of making them, and then I was more than happy to have someone else contribute some stuff, because I would rather have an album with some more variety on it than just be kind of from one person. So I think Mark's songs, you can tell the difference between our style of songwriting,
Right.
but it's not so different that it's like sounding like a completely different band or anything. And I think it's a good, keeps the album fresh.
Well, you guys have been playing together for a while, so you sort of understand each other's styles.
Absolutely, absolutely. And kind of work off each other. I've learned some things about songwriting from Mark and vice versa.
Okay. Any refereeing, Brittany, on stuff like that? I'm just kidding.
No, they're pretty. They're okay with it. It's not too competitive.
Okay. Well,
It's not a McCartney, Lennon.
Yeah, but it's
thing.
also your baby that you're working on. So I think it's just natural to be a little possessive of things that you're creating during the creative process.
Yeah.
I always find that interesting to see how the different bands work their way through the songwriting process, because that the key part of what you're doing, especially when you're doing original music.
Certainly.
So to have that where you get used to, okay, I'm writing all the songs, and then all of a sudden it's changing a little bit. It could be a tough adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have like a set rule of like the songwriter basically has veto power. Like if everyone can come up with their own thing, but there's really something that, you know, it's not in the songwriter's vision, then they can veto it or anything like that. So, you know.
So with that transition you were making, that tough time as you called it, when did you start writing the songs that are now on Songs from the Wigwam?
I was kind of just working on them the whole time in the background. I'm not really like all right, today I'm going to write a song kind of person. Like I spent a lot of time just sitting around playing the guitar, and just there were a lot of ideas coming to me. So I kind of just kept them on the back burner during that time, and occasionally would bring one or two out. Pretty much throughout the whole period, it wasn't like everything, that whole part of it had to go on hiatus too.
Right.
And that was kind of like a personal thing. I could keep working on stuff on my own.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of time in between both albums.
Yeah.
We talked to you in June, and you
It's only been a year.
announced the release party for the first album, and now we're talking about a release party that just happened, and you just released the album for the second one. So there wasn't a lot of time. Where did the idea of Songs for the Wigwam come from, that title?
Well, before that, I think one of the reasons why we came out with this new album so quickly is because of the lineup change, and we do have a bit of a different sound. So the last CD, we're very proud of that CD, and we still think it's awesome, but we don't sound the same. So we wanted to get something out there that was what we sound like now. So I think you had the songs on the back burner, but it was nice to have Mark step up and write a few too, so we could kind of record this album and get something out there. But Songs from the Wigwam actually comes from our house. Pete and I, we just bought a house last spring. And it's kind of funny because there's this older structure. It's like an old garage attached to our house.
Okay.
And our house is older. It was built like in the 30s, but this structure we think has been around since like the 1700s.
Wow.
And for some odd reason, our lighting on our house, it's labeled the Wigwam, this outside structure. So, we've been calling this outside garage the Wigwam, and Pete wrote most of these songs in our new house. So we thought it'd be a
Very
good
cool.
idea that's where we came up with Songs from the Wigwam.
Excellent.
Yeah, and the front cover features a picture of the Wigwam
Yes,
based off
our
a photo
wonderful
from
artwork.
I think circa 1951 or so.
Yeah,
what it used to look like.
We found an old photo of our house from like the 50s, but the picture on the album is the actual Wigwam.
Wow.
A drawing of the.
Who did the artwork?
The same guy who did our last album, actually. His name is Mike Gamble. He's like an incredible artist.
Yeah.
Britt actually knows him.
Yes.
But we just luckily stumbled upon him, and he's been doing amazing artwork for us ever since. And
He does our T-shirts, our posters. So
Excellent. That's
we're
a good
really
person
lucky.
to have.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, the second song that we're going to go to here is called Cross of Lorraine. Let's go to it, play it, and then we'll talk about what it's about.
Sounds good.
All right, we're talking with the Late Ancients. It's their second time on Your Local Note, and they're talking about their latest album called Songs from the Wigwam. This song is called Cross of Lorraine by the Late Ancients on yourlocalnote.com.
What have you done, my dear, to make your mother cry? Left all your good friends out to dry. Too late to find a reason, boy. I know you've tried. Sold off your profits for your pride. And your cross of Lorraine, it won't help to ease the pain. Thought you What have you said, my dear, to catch this wandering eye? Covered the tracks with your white light. No time to sell your sorrows, girl. Don't even try. Trade your smile for one goodbye. In your cross of the rain, it won't help to ease the pain. Fingerprints of God for the mark of Cain. Maybe the sun ain't shining on your old back door. Maybe the tears you're crying won't fall down no more. Too late to find anymore for your elders, Lord. Let out your bloodline on the floor.
That is Cross of Lorraine. They are the Late Ancients, and you're listening to yourlocalnote.com. Pete, Brittany, what is that song about? Take us through the creation of that song.
I probably started writing that song about 2 years ago. I remember it was October when I started writing it. It was kind of my attempt at what we call a Jerry ballad, like a slow, sad Jerry Garcia like melancholy song with some pedal steel and some swirling guitar lines in there. And as far as what it's about, I don't know, it's kind of like a vague song, I guess, about some character in the song who has done something to I guess disgrace their family, or has upset something in their bloodline. And it's a very vague description. I don't know, Britt, you kind of
was this was it written by you, Pete?
I wrote the song.
Okay.
Yes, Pete did write the song.
But sometimes a lot of the songs that I make, I don't really know what they're about. But it's really just kind of a sad song.
Sad song.
But it does have, Britt mentioned, we were listening to the other day and said it does have something about it that's like, what was the word you used?
Uplifting?
Sad, uplifting.
Sad, uplifting. Triumphant.
Triumphant. Yeah, I did use that
sad
word.
But triumphant. But it's not like completely. It's not like a depressing song. I don't know.
No,
It's
it's my favorite song on the album.
Yeah. It's
so you're writing these songs when the inspiration hits you. So I can understand why it's vague and you may not have a clear answer to that.
Yeah.
But the songwriting process musically, how did that change with the new member, and then you're down one member? How did that musically writing change?
Well, I think I focused more on some stuff that would suit our voices better. Like I sang a lot more on this album than I did the other one, and I was writing songs for other people to sing pretty much on the whole last album. So like this song is one that I sang. So just adjusting the key of the song or the singing style to match my voice. And also Mark, our keyboard player, who stepped up.
Right.
He sang very little on the last album. He sings a lot on this one. And he is kind of like a bluesier, raspier kind of voice. And I guess mine's a little more mellow sounding or whatever. So just suiting those, and then also writing some songs for Britt to sing. So I guess I spent a lot more time thinking about how we were going to sing them and also play them, because, you know, the first album, some of the songs were written before the full lineup was structured, and just getting used to, you know, bringing out the best, I guess, in everyone's skills through the songs.
Anything that you learned recording the first album that you took towards this second album that you think made it even better?
Just probably familiarity in the studio with, we recorded out in the same studio. It's the Green Room out in Harrisburg. And I guess just accepting that some of the best parts and some of our favorite parts of the songs and recording are usually the things that happen spontaneously in the studio that you weren't planning on, and allowing that to happen and leaving room for the songs to breathe, I guess, when you record them, and allowing those things to come about rather than being so focused on getting everything perfect or whatever.
So when you're recording, do you play together as a band and record it all at once, or is it track by track? Lay down the drums first and then, you know, guitars, then vocals, or do you try to do the live performance recording?
We do part of it live. We do drums, bass, and direct keyboard all live pretty much.
Yeah, we did. I laid down the acoustic guitar tracks first.
Okay.
And then we did the drums, keys, bass all together.
Yeah.
And then guitars, I guess, would be next, and then vocals last.
Okay.
Because vocals take the longest.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, but so you have that core of the rhythm track, I guess, that's live. So you still have some of that live feel. But then, we would love to do something that was completely live, but just for, I guess, the sake of, you know, our resources we had. I mean, it's not like the biggest studio, and, you know.
Well, it's always, I mean, that's always a key, especially with a band that's, you know, just starting out, you know, the resources to do things the way you want.
Yeah.
Obviously, financial considerations are taken into importance as far as, okay, we got to get this done because we can't afford to stay longer. So, yeah, I mean, that obviously influences you. Anything that you have taken from the second album that you want to maybe change or do differently for another album in the future?
I don't know. We were potentially talking about maybe trying a different studio, or maybe hiring a producer or something like that.
So you guys self-produce this album?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the engineer, Derek, is the guy who owns the studio, and he does all like the technical stuff, and he contributes some ideas as far as production goes. But Mark and I pretty much have a good idea of, you know, what effects we want, and, you know,
was it you and Mark also producing the first album too?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Unofficially, I guess.
Right. So but you were the main people behind it. So that would be interesting to take an outside ear to come in and push some things.
Yeah, I'm kind of, you know, on the fence about it, because it's I've never really been in a situation where I've had someone do that.
Right.
So I don't know.
Just other band members, that's fine, because you guys work together, you know each other. But to get an outside ear to come in who's used to producing and knows certain things, then to say, okay, I want this suggestion, I want that suggestion. Yeah, that could be tough to handle.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But that's something you are thinking about.
Yeah, we're considering. We haven't really... We're planning on taking a lot more time off between this album and our next album than we did with this one and the past one.
Why?
Because we wanted to get this one out quick because of the whole thing of it representing us now.
Okay.
And we spent so much time in the past year, like, focusing on this. Now we just want to spend our time promoting this.
Okay.
And we
opposed
put a
to-
lot of money into this, and not that we're completely cashed out at this point, but it'd be nice to kind of relax and focus on our live show and just go out there and just play.
And now you got 2 full albums to draw from. That's got
Yeah.
to make life a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you're performing live.
Yeah, totally. And I think our sets lately, we maybe played 1 song from the last album at most.
Oh, really?
If that.
Okay, very cool. All right, let's go to song number 3. It's called On the Old Brandy Wine. Let's talk about that song, Pete.
This one, I guess I started writing about this time last year. It's pretty much our most country sounding song, as in like old school country, like Hank Williams-esque, with some pedal steel on there, featuring actually our buddy Patrick Strain, who plays in a great band called Tumbleweed Highway, who we played with last weekend at our album release party.
Okay.
Basically, it's just a straight up country song, kind of like a swing feel, and it switches to like a waltz in the chorus, and has a really cool like upright piano sound and nice smooth Telecaster solo. I got to play a Telecaster. I don't usually play a Fender Telecaster, but got to play one in the studio. There's some nice lap steel on it. It's just a nice, compact, straight up country song.
And it's about, the lyrics about?
Oh, man. Just, obviously the Brandywine River is local.
Right.
And just about some guy who hangs out on the Brandywine.
Very cool.
And the Brandywine's kind of like a place where the scallywags hang out as little
Scallywags.
Yeah. It's kind of like the rough where the rough people hang out. And
Okay. Very
he's
cool.
part of that crew.
All right, we're hanging with Brittany and Pete from the Late Ancients. They got a new album out. It's called Songs from the Wigwam. And this song is called On the Old Brandy Wine on yourlocalnote.com.
You don't get mad when I'm away. I'm always changing from day to day. You wasted nothing on me but your time when we were lovers down on the Brandywine. I was a fool to think you'd stay. Spent my nights sleeping and drank my days. Even a drunkard like me could see the signs. You found another one on the Brandywine. Nickels and change couldn't get you a dime when you're lost or you're found on the old Brandywine. I've drowned my sorrows and sealed my fate. Don't bother trying, 'cause it's too late. Unto the currents and winds I've resigned, like many others down on the Brandywine.
The song is called On the Old Brandywine. The Late Ancients and their new album, Songs from the Wigwam, is the focus on this edition of Your Local Note podcast. And we're hanging with Pete and Brittany from the Late Ancients. Pete, you do most of the songwriting. When you're writing a song, I'm getting the impression, and then tell me if I'm wrong, and during our conversation here, that the first thing you work on is the music.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then you then work with the words. And is this life experience, or are you more of just, here's an idea, let me try to expand on this?
Usually how it starts is I'll come up with like one line for like the chorus or something, or maybe a line for the verse that I really like, and it might mean absolutely nothing on its own. Mm-hmm. But if I like the sound of the words and, I feel like it flows well, then what I might do is try to just build an idea around that thought. Like Brandywine we just talked about. I just had the idea of ending the chorus with "On the Old Brandywine,"
right?
Which really at the time meant nothing to me. But then I was like, why not just build something around that, and it all fits.
Do you ever write songs based on your own personal experience?
I guess, not intentionally, but I guess as part of my experience have to come out in my songs. But I kind of like the idea of the listener making their own idea about the song. That's what I like about songwriters like Bob Dylan or Neil Young, is that they were very vague and they never talked about what their songs were about. And I think part of it was to contribute to their kind of like, mythical songwriter status. Mm-hmm. But I think also they knew that when you listen to a song, you make it your own. You attach your own ideas and your own experiences to it. And if you have your own thoughts about the way a song is, and then, 5 years later you hear the artist say, well, it's not about that, it's about something completely different. A lot of times you can be like, oh, that sucks. I always thought it was about this. That's not, that completely ruins the way I look at the song.
I'll never listen to it again.
Yeah, or it just changed your whole perspective.
Right.
So it's kind of cooler when it's a little more mysterious. And,
like the mystery of it. Brittany, when he's working on some stuff, do you ever, jump in and say, you know what, I like that. Keep working on that.
Yeah, certainly. I'm lucky because I'm the first one that usually gets to hear all of them. So I guess I'm the guinea pig. He's like, all right, how's this sound? And most of the time, it sounds great and I'm happy with it. But yeah, I'll step in and say, I like this, or maybe you should change that. So
never, what are you doing? No, I'm kidding.
Maybe. Usually though, it's like, she'll be like, well, what are the lyrics going to be like? Or like, what's the melody like? And I'm like, well, I don't know yet. She's like, well, what about this part? She's like, well, I have to hear those parts. I'm like, well, how does this part? So I'm like, just the chords.
Right, because you're building and you just want to make sure, okay, can I go from here?
Yeah.
Okay, and Brandy and Brittany's going, but I want more.
I need to see the whole picture.
Yeah, so then I got to go back to work. And so it keeps me working.
All right, very cool. You've got some new people with the band. How are the live shows going?
Fantastic.
Great.
We've been playing so much together, and we've also been doing some stuff on the side, playing some like cover shows, some like bar gigs, just to make a few extra bucks and like fund the album, of course. And even though we're playing some regular classic rock covers, that kind of thing, it's just good to play together, and we do a lot of improvising when we do those things, and just getting used to each other on stage, communicating. It's just, I feel like every time we play, it's just been getting better and better.
How soon did you start playing the songs from this album?
We actually played the song Cross the Lorraine, which we played earlier. We debuted that at our last album release party.
Okay.
And then we didn't play it again for like 6 months or something like that because we were in the drummer transition phase. But I don't know, over the course of the year, it's kind of been, maybe a new song every 2 months or so. Mm-hmm. Some of them we went into the studio having never played them live, but a lot of them we've been playing for like a year. So it's kind of varied over the course.
Has playing them live for an audience and getting that feedback affected the final song, the final version of the song, or how you went into the studio with that song?
Definitely. I think some of the improvisational parts of some of the longer songs, like Back to the Desert, that was one we've been playing a long time. We kind of saw what worked for like the middle, the breakdown section, and how the crowd responded, and we kind of decided to make it a little more concise and structured. And I think that we're much better off for having done that. So if we didn't have that opportunity to play it live, it may not have came out as well. But it is interesting to go into the studio with a song we have never played live, and maybe it would have been better off having played it live for a little while, but never know. It's good to have a mix, I guess.
Any favorite performances over the last year, famous venues that you've played for the first time?
We just played at Sellersville Theater a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
And that was a very nice theater. That was probably the nicest theater we've ever played in.
Yeah, certainly. That was a big one. We got to play Music Fest this summer.
Very cool.
That was a really good one. We played down in Baltimore, this thing called the Party on the Plaza. That was like a big outdoor kind of gig. Oh, and also Night Market on South Street.
Oh, yeah.
That was very cool.
This past summer. That was probably the biggest crowd we've ever played in front of. There were just people everywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that night festival.
That's probably the highlight of the summer, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through some of your websites, places that people can get this new album, Songs from the Wigwam. Where can we find you?
Well, we'll be selling it right off our official website, thelateancients.com. There's just a merch page. You can buy the new CD, and we'll have T-shirts on there and stuff like that, posters. That you'll get the actual CD in the mail for that. You'll also be able to get it on iTunes. I think that may take a couple weeks to get up, and also CD Baby. Yeah, CD Baby and Bandcamp. We're up on Bandcamp, just The Late Ancients, or bandcamp.thelateancients.com, I think it is. We'll be loading a lot of like videos and promotional things like that on our YouTube page. It's just youtube.com/thelateancients. And we'll be posting all about it on our Facebook page. You just search Facebook for The Late Ancients, and twitter.com/thelateancients.
Nice. I think you got it all covered there.
I think so. Reverb Nation, all those things.
Yep.
Just Google The Late Ancients and probably about
There you go.
15 things come up related to us.
Now, upcoming shows. Where are some places we can find you?
We're going to be at Dobbs on South Street.
That's Saturday, November 2nd,
Yep.
I believe. That's a Fish after party show, I believe, that we were hired for. We're also going to be playing at Jolly's Piano Bar over right next to the Blockley.
Right. It's 38 in Chestnut, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's November 26th.
That's actually a Tuesday night. That's probably like the Tuesday right before Thanksgiving. So hopefully everyone's home for the holidays in that one. And then we'll also be playing up in New Hope, one of our favorite towns, our favorite music towns, at John and Peter's on Saturday or Friday, December 13th. I think that's Friday the 13th, yeah. And yeah, so those are the big ones in the area. We'll be playing, in upstate New York a few times in there and traveling around. But as far as local shows, those are the big ones.
All right, and we'll throw all the details for those on the concert calendar too. So if anyone didn't have a pen just now, just go to our concert calendar and you can get all the details for that. The final song on the podcast, Country Living. What can you tell us about that song?
That's another Pete song.
Go ahead, Pete. What is that about?
Okay, this one, I really like this song because it's like the second to last song in the album. It's really kind of just about making your own life and building your own home. It's really kind of the more earthy song on the album. It's just a straight up rock song because the whole theme being Songs from the Wigwam is kind of like about us making our own home in the house, and that's kind of like the more psychedelic side of it. But the country living is just kind of like the rocking, straight up, live your own life anthem.
Right. Excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming back in the studio and talking about this new album.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. We'd love to come back soon.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you out on the road promoting this album. It's called Songs from the Wigwam. The last song we're going to play is Country Living, but let me remind you, we'll have another featured podcast up next week. Check out our concert calendar and also our YLN video update, where you can get up-to-date news on all the bands and artists that we've had on yourlocalnote.com. We're ending up with the song Country Living from the Late Ancients and their new album Songs from the Wigwam on yourlocalnote.com.